Right. Uh, Hello, Chicago cannabis community. This is Philip underscore here. Um, and as we look at the cannabis industry grow throughout the state, we thought it would be a great discussion to also talk to some more people that are professionals and working within the cannabis industry itself. So today I have the pleasure of interviewing Steve Garza, who is a cannabis cultivator. We're going to take some time today just to learn a little bit more about his background, what his experience has been within the industry, how did he get into the industry, and just overall just learn more about what he's been through and certainly what he sees in the cannabis. Steve, welcome. How are you, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me. How's it going?
No problem at all. And if you could speak up a little bit, that would be really, really great.
You got it.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. So really appreciate you taking the time. So your title, we'll start there, is a cannabis cultivator. If you could break down, what that means and overall kind of how you even got exposed to the cannabis industry and what made you pursue a profession in it.
Being a cultivator means I'm the grower. I'm the one that's growing it, making sure that we're getting good product to the consumer. Um, on a personal level, it means that I'm pushing the industry. I'm trying to find the new the new wave. What are people asking for? People don't want, what they had 20 years ago. Kids nowadays don't know what was around 25, 30 years ago, but everyone wants that new flavor. So as a cultivator, I'm trying to stay ahead of the game, try to keep my ear on it and see what's coming. And I try to have it.
Okay.
Um, and it's always interested me. It's always interested me to grow things, to see things coming from nature, coming out the soil. It's pretty cool that we get to grow our own now.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure that helps to really let you know and also any consumers know exactly how, like what that process is and certainly knowing what goes into the product as well and just what the overall growing experience would be. So for many of us, even myself, I'm only seeing the finished product. I'm not knowing about what the process is. It sounds like
Sure.
there's a bit of botany, a bit of chemistry within that process. Can you touch on specifically how you are a grower? Like what does that process entail?
Yeah, man. So I've kind of dibbled and dabbled in every grow medium, so to speak. I've been growing for about 10, 11 years now, and when I first started, I was really interested in hydro grows. Um, for those who don't know, that's where the roots are directly in water, either in a deep water culture or in a moving system. And I was really interested in it because of the control factor. Um, there are different ways. There's, three main kind of ways to grow, hydro, in some soil, or a cocoa, which is like a happy mix. And the hydro, the controllability of it, just it made me happy to think that I can do it all. It has its ups and downs, and then I switched over to cocoa, which is coconut husks, and it's the best of both worlds, so to speak. It's clean, it's not as dirty as soil. You still have to add all the nutrients, but the product comes out different. It's not as big and like steroidy, if that's a word. The
Okay.
hydro plants come out huge and they come out fast and they're really, really pretty right away, whereas soil takes a little bit more patience. And now I've been getting into living soil, which is a more environmental friendly way to grow. I'm trying to grow with no bottle nutrients. We're doing 100% organic grow. Uh, the way we do it, we mix our own soil. We get all the ingredients together, make sure they're naturally sourced, make sure they're renewable. We're trying to push the market, not your everyday cannabis.
Yeah. When and you mentioned having a process that keeps things organic. What does that mean necessarily when you hear organic referred to with the cannabis product, or at least in terms of how you're putting together your products?
Organic is a tricky term, man. It encompasses a lot of things. What it means for me specifically is I'm a living soil, no-till organic grower. So that means I put my soil together, I go out and I get all the ingredients, mm, something like a mix of cocoa, um, perlite, charcoal, and a mix of dry amendments. You know, there's all sorts of different things to put in, and everyone comes up with their own different recipe. But keeping it organic it helps for the end product. Hydro growers and most bottle nutrients are not organic. They use salts, and these affects the plants. Not necessarily in a bad way. It's kind of like steroids, you know. Some people will tell you that creatine is okay, you know, and some will say it's juice. Depends on the way you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the end result that we're going for, though. We're trying to mimic the outdoors, indoors, and with a living soil organic grow, you tend to get a better terpene profile and a more wide terpene profile. So at the end result, you get a more flavorful cannabis, and it's a little picky, it's a little snobby, but I think it's the best kind of cannabis that you can get.
Really cool. Now, I want to back up a little bit because you've shared just maybe like a tip of the iceberg of all the knowledge that you know when it comes to putting this together and going through this process. Take us back maybe to how you got inspired to work in the industry.
How I got inspired to get in the industry. Well, cannabis, I started smoking the first time I smoked, I think I was 14 or 15, and it helped me out. It relaxed me. You know, I'm kind of a spaz, and cannabis slowed me down the right way, and it helped me focus when I needed to focus. And over the years, you run into different strains, and when it's not legal, you don't know what you're getting. Whatever your buddy has, you buy it and you consume it. So over the years, you try different things, and you realize that different strains affect you different ways, and then it turns into, well, you know, I got to get my hands on this because this helps me focus at work. Well, if I can't find it on the streets anywhere, you know, well, it's just a plant. So let's try growing it. Let's see what I can do. And my first plant, it was just a seed in a regular pot under one of those little curly Q light bulbs
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, and it was terrible. It was spindly. It was itty bitty. It was very unhealthy. My mom found it. She threatened to kick me out. Like, it was the whole shebang, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And it just it snowballed from there. Once I realized that I could pop a seed and get it to grow a little bit, it's like straight to the veins. Like, I need more. I got to try this more. I got to grow more.
So you
Yeah.
took I mean, they say you plant a seed, but you took an actual seed and really started to get you into it. Um, in other ways, how did you learn this process? Did you have anyone kind of mentor you, or did you kind of learn on your own?
Man, I wish I could say I had a mentor, but I didn't, unfortunately. It was super illegal when I first started, and so I would read as much as I could. I would find some techniques, and I would try it on my one plant I had in my tiny little closet, you know. So I learned very, very slowly, and I made every mistake possible. I didn't have anyone telling me what to do or what not to do. It was legit trial and error. And when
Right.
you're first starting out and it's illegal, you know, you're hiding everything. It's a very small grow. So I had one or two plants at the most. And when you mess up with one or two plants, you got to start all over. So it
Right.
took a long time. It took a long time. Um, but now, you know, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I figured it out. I enjoy passing on the knowledge. I don't want to hide anything that I've learned. I don't want to keep anything secret. I think, I think it's our job to push the industry by sharing knowledge and doing it better, you know? Like this is what I do, this is why I do it, and I'm still gonna do it awesome. And everyone else has a chance to do it awesome as well.
Uh, I wish everyone thought like that. I think the world would be a better place.
Yeah.
And even from your experience, you know, and first, thank you for just kind of sharing that background. Certainly, how you got into, you know, cannabis as, you know, you kind of tinkering and figuring things out. But when was the or how did you transition your kind of budding hobby at this moment as a teenager? How did you transition that into an actual profession in the industry?
Oh man, it was a long time coming, you know. Uh,
Hmm.
I've had a bunch of jobs throughout, and at the end of every shift I would have, I would come home and I would go in my garden, and my garden would make me feel better about the day. No matter what the day was, it could be a good day, bad day, nothing happened, whatever. When I got home and got in my garden, I smiled and it made me happy. And I decided to focus on it one day. And the more I focused on it, the more opportunity showed up. So
Hmm.
it just, if you love what you do and you do it well, doors are going to show up, and it's my job to walk through them and continue to do what I've been doing well. So that's what I'm doing, man. I'm with the way the industry is going here in Illinois, it's just starting. So the opportunities are there. Anybody who wants to get in it, my advice is just try. Just try, give it your attention, give it your focus, go for it, and you will accomplish it.
Very inspiring. And just to elaborate on that, would you have any like specifics of, or even best practices when it comes to looking for positions, applying for positions, maybe even trying to figure out, you know, where you would fit within the industry for someone that may be pretty new?
Well, I think that's the most important part, the last thing you said. Find
Mm.
what you want to do. If you want to be a bud tender, you know, focus on being a bud tender. If you want to be a grower, focus on being a grower. If you're trying to own a dispensary, then, you know, get your business in line. That's the most important part because it's a huge industry. It's a huge industry. There's so much, and there's so many new jobs that are showing up. In my case, um, I'm a horticulturalist, and I'm really good at it, and I'm a really good teacher. That's just, I like explaining things. It's a natural tendency of mine. So I created my own job in the industry. I just started a business called G's Trees. Co- Um, I'm a consultant, and I set up your home garden. So if you can't find a job for what you want to do, make your own lane. The game is just starting. That's that's kind of how it is. If you really want to get into it, you just got to go for it.
That's incredible advice, especially because, as you mentioned, it just got started here in the state, and there's so much opportunity. And with the new laws and everything with legalization, have you found any positives, any negatives with legalization now within the state? What's been your experience?
Legalization has brought on both positive and negative. With anything, when the market expands, prices are going to expand as well. So that's the downfall. You know, prices have gone through the roof. You know, and there's been this drought that's been going on for past couple of months. So um, yeah, that's kind of, I think that's the negative, is the prices. On the flip side, it's getting people to look within to see what they can do. And I think it's going to drive more people to growing their own cannabis. since it's legal, if you have your medical card and you can have your 5 plants, why not? You can have a couple pounds every couple months and you can sustain, that's your medicine for your family. That's your medicine for you.
Mm,
It's an amazing possibility if you get down to it.
fantastic. Last couple of questions here. What is, if you could name like one thing that's your favorite aspect of being a grower, being a cultivator, what would that be?
I know this one's weird, man, because it's contradictory to why most people get in the game, but my favorite part about growing is being able to give away free weed. I, it's the coolest thing in the world, man. Every now and then, I just go on my Facebook or my Instagram, and I just ask people, hey, who wants some samples? Who wants some samples? And I'll just drive around Chicago and give away samples. We'll give away an ounce in a day, pass out grams here and there, pass out eighths here and there, and no particular reason. I want feedback. I want to drop a smile on people. So that's the coolest thing. And as a grower, there's always extra weed somewhere. Usually it's always floating around. So it's cool. It's real cool.
Wow. Well, I'm glad we're in touch. I'll send you my address after the interview. No, that's fantastic. Well, for me, I think this was a really great way for us to learn more about your background, your experience, how you see the future of the industry, certainly how people can get in, and it doesn't take necessarily this you know big certification or this big degree. You can certainly use your own ingenuity and desire for knowledge and experience. And certainly with people like yourself willing to share that knowledge, it's really going to make some opportunities for a lot of people that want to get in. Last
Yeah.
couple questions again. Did you want to maybe share any, um, last piece of advice? I mean, you dropped some gems already throughout the interview, but anything else that you may want to share with people, or anything else that you want to share about yourself?
Uh, Man, the only advice in reality is do what you want to do. If cannabis is where you want to be, go for it. And you can definitely do it. The game is just getting started. Everybody can play.
Love it. Love it. Well, I love that we were able to certainly wrap up this interview on a very positive and inspirational note. Certainly need that during all these times that we're going through. Um, with that, how can people find you in terms of maybe reaching out or learning more, or even getting on that free weed distro list that you have?
Sure. Instagram is where I post all my pictures. That's where my garden is at Stevochi, Stevochi. That's my Instagram. Facebook is Steve Garza. There's a big picture of a cannabis leaf. That's my logo. Um, Email Garza8620 at Yahoo, Garza 8620. Just reach out. I'm an open book. Reach out, and I'll definitely let you know something.
Hey, thank you, Steve, for just being, an open book, as you mentioned, and certainly taking your time to share more about your life and your background within the industry with us today. Folks, you heard all the information that Steve shared. Feel free to connect with him, follow him, reach out with any questions. So feel free to do that. Thank you again, Steve, for being on the podcast. Thank you for being a friend of the cannabis group that we have on Facebook. And also for those that aren't aware, please be sure to follow the Chicago Cannabis Community Facebook group on Facebook, of course. And we also have a Instagram and LinkedIn page under, the LinkedIn will be under SimploPro, and for the Instagram, you can look for Chicago Cannabis Community. Again, Steve, thank you. Hope everyone has a good rest of your day, and enjoy.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Take care.